All right, we'll now welcome in Coach Musselman. Hutch, you want to get started, please?
First, we should compliment Mike Kaywood on upping his game. We got this nice background. Good job, Mike.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious what your impressions are of Oklahoma ahead of this neutral site game.
Yeah, I mean, really good ball club. Obviously Groves 35 up front, can post up, can shoot the three, can play out on the floor. Number one, Hill is really, really active at that power forward spot. Good basket cutter, runs the floor really hard. Goldwire, number 0 at the points, got, experience having come from Duke, and Gibson, number 2, their off guard, can really stroke the ball. 55, Harkless, plays extremely hard. Good in transition, good offensive rebounder. So obviously, really talented team. 7-2. The Butler game was a phenomenal game to watch. But yeah, really, really good basketball team. A talented team, and it's a game in a neutral site that's, hopefully be a really good environment as well for both teams.
And Jalen has done a little bit of everything for y'all this year. And in the last game, he gave you 15 points. Is that something you like to see from him, and think he could maybe continue doing that, providing a little bit more of a scoring punch in addition to all the other things he does?
Yeah, Hutch, I think, the game's going to kind of dictate, what matchups we want to go to. And certainly Jalen took advantage of the matchups, the last game, and because the ball's going to be in his hands because of the passing ability, the scoring ability. He can shoot facing up. He can score out of the post. And again, he's been a guy that we've relied on to be a ball distributor. So certainly Hutch is, as many touches as he can get, the better off we are.
Curtis.
Hey, Coach, I was looking at your post-game autopsy tweet earlier today, and the last 4 games, you guys have had over 200 passes and been over 50% from the field. I imagine there's a pretty strong correlation between good ball movement and good shots. How important has that been for you guys, and what does that say about the team kind of coming along in terms of developing that on-floor chemistry?
Yeah, Curtis, we had talked about it, a lot of the staff members that had been with us, at Nevada, and it's the first time to our knowledge in 7 years that we've had 4 straight games of over 200 passes. So, we're still growing, still trying to learn each other, but certainly because of the scoring ability of Devo, JD, and Chris Likes, ball movement coming into the season was something that we wondered how would we going to, formulate roles and share the ball. And again, it's been a 4-game stretch where we've done a really good job of moving the defense and taking what the defense gives us and not forcing the issue. And we can even get better, from a ball movement standpoint than we are right now. We'll continue to talk about it and try to, move the thing even more than we have at times.
And then to tie that into this game coming up, how important is that going to be against Oklahoma? It looks like they're pretty stingy on the defensive end.
Yeah, they're a really good defensive team. They understand their principles. Having played against, Porter Moser's teams in the past, like they've always been, really, really solid and good defenders. And, he's a guy that has great preparation leading up to games. And, so it's no surprise. I mean, again, I think he's done a great job everywhere he's been, on both sides of the ball. And certainly, from a discipline standpoint, defensively, he does a great job.
Thanks, Coach.
Nate.
Yeah, Eric, is this a game where you look to probably lower your rotations and what you've been, since you play a lot of people, been able to play a lot of people these last few games?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you never know how foul trouble is going to go. And but certainly we're going into the game, everyone being ready to play and see how the game dictates the flow of everything. Not really going in with any preconceived, thought processes, because I don't know how it's going to unfold. I don't know who's going to get hot. I don't know who could get, early fouls, because obviously we don't like to play people in the first half if they have more than 2 fouls. So I think it'll all just kind of dictate, based on how the game goes. And if you're playing well and nobody's in foul trouble, those are usually the games that we don't sub a lot. But if we're struggling to score or struggling to stop people or have a little bit of foul trouble, then the rotation opens up a little bit more. You're on mute, Nate.
Has there been anybody beyond your top 7 that have stood out to you in practice or games lately?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had much practice. We're, getting ready to go down there now. And between now and our last game, we didn't practice, yesterday. So, there hadn't been any opportunity for anybody to, to do much to change anything other than the fact that, some teams are bigger, some teams are smaller, some games you need perimeter play, some games you need interior play. So, I think that, there's 3 guys that, that all can, could all help us at some time.
Thank you.
Bob,
Hey Eric, how you doing?
Good, Bob.
Devo, he's played really good defense really all season, I guess, but he's really gotten his offensive game going here lately with the assists and the points. Well, what have you seen from him? And he said maybe early in the season, I can't remember if he said he was angry or aggressive, but he wasn't playing, I guess, with his usual, I don't know, effervescence or whatever you want to call it. Do you think maybe he was feeling a little pressure early, or what do you think's been the difference for him of late?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we talked to him about is just, play with joy, because I thought last year the cool thing about being around him, coaching him, his teammates, we all kind of fed off his energy and his enthusiasm to play. And, he seemed a little more serious to start this year. But I think he's a guy that we need, we feed off of his personality. And we've seen a lot more of his personality of late, for whatever reason. I think a lot of it too is just comfort, he's more comfortable with his teammates. I think they're understanding each other's games a little bit better than earlier in the year. And again, he's changing positions as well. So I think that now he's starting to fall into a little bit more of a groove and feel more comfortable.
I know we're talking a 3-ball in the off season, but he's really been attacking the basket. To me, that's really where he's the most dangerous. What do you thought of that? Just the way he's attacking the basket, being aggressive, going to the hole.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that he's hard to keep in front just because he can get out and transition and attack, and he's so good off the bounce. And but he hasn't. I think he has improved dramatically as a shooter. And he's comfortable with that, with shooting open shots, or if a defense tries to go under him. But yeah, I mean, we certainly want him to continue to utilize what he did last year, which is that mid-range game and taking the ball all the way to the cup.
You touched on this on your radio show the other night, but this was kind of Lon Kruger's baby, and obviously he's retired. And you and Porter have a bit of a history. What do you think about that? And then also, this is going to be a conference game at some point, and you guys are probably going to be playing home and home on campus. This may be the only time you're playing Tulsa. They might be in the SEC next year. I don't know, but have you thought about that? And just kind of what do you think about this being a precursor to what'll probably be a pretty good SEC rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, just worried about trying to figure out a way to compete and play hard, on Saturday. I don't, put too much thought, to be honest with you, Bob, that it could be a conference, opponent in the near future. It's, to us, it's no different than playing West Virginia. It's a game on our schedule. That's, this one's a neutral site game, supposedly, although it's in obviously the state of Oklahoma. I'm not so sure that, when we play in Little Rock, that's a neutral site game. But it is what it is. And I think there'll be a great crowd. I really do. I think that, you'll see over 10,000 people in that building. Who knows what the walk-up will be on game day, but certainly it'll be a good environment for both teams to play in.
And your history with Porter, I know you had that tough NCAA tournament loss, and I guess you got him back. And So you have a bit of a history with him. Could you touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great coach. He's got great enthusiasm, great energy. His teams always execute. We have played him twice and have great respect for what he's done throughout his career. And, his teams are always prepared. There's no question that they'll be, and they're good on both sides of the basketball.
Do you have to change anything with David Patrick being over there in terms of signals or anything you guys do?
Nope.
Okay. I might have a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Big Mike. Thanks.
Alyssa.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. Changing the subject just a tad, I was able to talk to Marla Burleson yesterday. And what can you say just about her talent and the artwork and being able to collaborate with her with your shoes and really come to life what you envision and what she's able to do with her artwork?
Yeah, no, she's an incredible artist, and to think that she can do some of the designs that she does on a shoe is kind of mind-boggling. At least to somebody like me who can't even, sign my name properly. So she's amazing, and she's really, really creative. And I think it's been, really fun for, before the game the other night, KK looked down and he was like, "Dang, coach, those are tough." So I know the recruits, have really enjoyed what's coming next, and certainly our upcoming class when their names were on it, they really liked it. And we're just trying to promote our program, try to be creative, be ahead of the curve, do some things before other programs start copying it. And who knows what'll be next, but it'll be something creative that we think of, and then somebody else can copy it, a few months later.
Well, she says you guys got some great designs down the road, so looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yeah, there are some good ones. We've been saving some good ones.
Scotty.
Hey, Coach, you said Tuesday, I believe, that Chris maybe played his best defensive game against Charlotte. What in particular maybe impressed you, and what strides are you seeing him, maybe as an on-ball and off-ball defender?
I think probably both, Scotty. His man, I don't know if his man scored on him, at all the other day. And he's got to continue to use, he's just unique. And so you got to use your size to your advantage. I thought he did a good job tracing the ball. He did a really good job jumping to the ball to be in help position. And I think a lot of the things, quite frankly, Scotty, are just, they're new terms to him. It's a different philosophy than maybe what he's played at. And so there's going to be, an adjustment period. Now that we're, 9 games in, I think that 9th game, he made a big jump. We've been sending him individual clips, and he's done a really good job of executing what we want from a defensive standpoint.
We were talking about Devo playing with joy earlier. I feel like Jalen is another guy who plays with a lot of that. What's it kind of like being around him on a near daily basis, and just kind of the leadership qualities that he's provided you guys?
Yeah, Jalen's been, awesome. He's great in film. He's great in practice. He's great in games. He's a heavy communicator. He's a guy that, he leads in so many different ways. He leads with his voice. He leads with his actions. He's by far our best take a charge player. So how many, teams have a player that, is your best charge player, leads you in assist? He just does so many different things for us. And, there's things that don't show up in a box score. Like, he's a good post defender, and he can alter shots when he goes vertical. So he does a lot of really, really good things for us, chemistry wise and on the floor, both offensively and defensively.
Bob, you got a follow-up?
Yeah, Eric, looking at the stats, small sample size, I guess, but OU's 3-point defense is 27.5%, pretty good. And obviously that's been an area you guys have struggled. How do you see that matchup?
Well, we haven't made many threes, so, I mean, we can't shoot it any worse, I don't think. I guess knock on wood. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be, again, Porter Moser, like his teams they're good in pick and roll defense. You know, they're good in transition defense. They guard the 3-point line. They don't want you to get middle off the bounce. You know, they'll switch some things based on their personnel. They're really, really well coached basketball team. And, you know, we kind of knew that coming in that they would be well coached, and they are. You know, they got a good record because they have good talent, and he coaches them really well.
And then Connor, you know, some games aren't good matchups for him defensively, but with Grove's size, how do you see that? Devo was saying, hey, if Connor's guarding him well, he might play 40 minutes. I know that's your call out, Devo's, but how do you see that matchup between the big guys?
I mean, you know, Groves can go out on the floor too, because, you know, he can shoot the ball. And, you know, Connor has played good post defense. He's done a good job of 3-quarter in the post. He's done a good job when he's had to play behind the post and making players shoot over an extended hand. But Groves is a really good player. I mean, he's a big focal point of what they try to do from an offensive standpoint, because he can space it out. He can pass the ball. He's good inside. You know, so I think, you know, really Groves is a hard matchup every night for whoever goes against him. I think he's proven that, you know, over the sample size of the 9 games that he's played this year for Oklahoma. And then you watch the game tape last year in the NCAA tournament when he has 35 points or whatever. I mean, he's a really, really hard matchup for a lot of people.
And then I guess it's a neutral game, but OU's technically the home team this year anyway. Is it going to be SEC refs, or who'll call the game?
Well, I don't know. We have not gone on to, you know, to our website to see who is reffing. Usually right before tip off, my son, Michael, gives me a picture with their names. And I kind of like it that way. I'd rather not know until I'm going out with about a minute and a half to go before tip. So that'll probably be what happens. I'll probably find out, Bob, after all of you guys know.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.